Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Entrepreneur Encounters. In today's interview, I chat with Courtney Skinkis, the owner of Confluence Graphics, a commercial printing company here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I start off by asking Courtney, how did she decide to get into her business? Let's listen to her answer.
I had a different experience than most entrepreneurs in that I purchased an established business, but I also purchased an established declining business during COVID. So it was a little bit interesting. Up until being a business owner, I had no formal business training. I had actually hit complete rock bottom in my life in that I lost a job that I was at it for almost 18 years, was working like a cash job. It was just like the weirdest experience of my life. And my husband, Brad, had been working at Confluence Graphics, and the previous owners had approached him and had said, "Hey, I think we're looking to get out of owning this business. Would you be interested in purchasing it?" And, we didn't really take it that seriously at the time. We're just like, yeah, whatever. And then a couple months later, they're like, but no, really, like we want to do this, and we'd love for you to buy the business. And it's kind of a joke with Brad and I because I had the money to purchase it, so I bought the business. And we have a joke between the two of us that he bought me a bed and I bought him a business, and I have just been learning ever since.
I love this. I've been learning ever since, right? We'll hear more about Courtney's story later, but for now, I want to focus on how she got into the business. Courtney's story is basically one we hear over and over. You ever said to yourself, I was in this season of life where it just seemed to make sense, or I was between jobs, or that role I was doing had just lost its shine, and the culture and people and opportunity weren't there to be able to grow anymore? If that sounds like you, would love to chat with you and learn more about your story. It certainly resonated for Courtney. And in this case, she'd had the repeated opportunity coming to her. Hey, what do you think about buying the business? What do you think about buying this business? It's a great way to get in and get established, particularly when you see that there's an opportunity to be able to grow, an opportunity to change, an opportunity to make a difference that perhaps wasn't there before, or the other folks didn't have the time or energy to be able to do. So I want to go on and ask Courtney, tell me about the early days of this business. I think her answer is fascinating. Let's listen.
I didn't have a lot of experience in print. Like I said, I've done purchasing, I've done customer service, I've done accounting, I've done a little bit of marketing, like enough to be dangerous everywhere. But like when it came to actually running a business, I mean, I I really had no idea where to start. Okay, you have this business now, you have all of this equipment. Do you really use it all? So what we ended up doing was going through like every piece of machinery, every folder, cutter, printer, everything that we had in evaluating like, does this serve the business or is this holding us back? And looking at the machinery that was there, a lot of it is great. We still have it, but a lot of it was dated. And we ended up having to go and obtain new leases for copiers, but also find the right price points so that we weren't digging a hole trying to get the business back together.
I love this. Folks, if you didn't hear Courtney on this, listen up. When she went in and bought this business, they were evaluating the equipment. What's old? What's defunct? What's useful? What's helpful? I want to challenge you to evaluate your company deeply. Even if you've been running it for a long time, what happens is we start, we build, we grow. We had some things that have been there because they've always been there, or ways that we've done it that we've always done because it's what we have. You've got the employees you brought along. It doesn't really matter where it's at. It can always benefit us to look more carefully. Is it actually serving our core product? And you want to evaluate their tools. Are they serving our needs? Are they helping you or are they harming you? That's a big difference. And sometimes it's hard to see. Folks, this is wisdom that no matter how big or small our businesses are, that we can apply. When we step back and evaluate what's working and what's not, we're going to give ourselves and our businesses a great gift. We gain insight on how we're going to leverage that limited time we have and the limited treasures to make the best use of it and to make the best products and the best service we can possibly deliver. That's something MKE Business Coach, when we do a business diagnostic review for a business, we want to dive in and look deep. We want to ask the owners to take a look inside. You get underneath the hood, and oftentimes you can find some amazing decisions right there and get immediate value on, this is what I need to stop. This is what I need to utilize better. Where are the choke points that are maybe holding you back and preventing you from achieving the growth you dream of? I went on to ask Courtney, how did she determine market demand? When you're going to buy a business, you got to figure out what's there, what can I do, and what can I grow with? Let's listen to how she answers that.
Most of our market research was just asking our clients questions about their needs and things that we could do to help them, like understanding the types of print projects that they were looking to do. Do we have the capability to complete that, or would we have to potentially look at outsourcing or partnering with other companies? We honestly were like flying by the seat of our pants. And we probably didn't do a lot of the research that you might do if you were starting from the ground up, just because we had a little bit of a client base already that kind of got us started. And we were able to kind of see what's working for different segments of our business and be able to apply that to other clients.
Folks, I love what Courtney said here. She's right. Many businesses don't do their market research this way. And I really think it's essential that you get in and do it. Courtney asked her existing clients, existing customers, what they wanted. And then she listened. When's the last time you went out and talked to your existing customers? And I'm not talking about selling to them. And I'm not talking about asking leading questions that you get affirming answers, which may or may not be accurate. I'm talking about doing good old fashioned customer discovery, folks, not just because it's going to help us get better at our skill, craft, or trade, but because it may help us identify new product and service niches that we hadn't thought of before to be able to drive growth. It may help us eliminate some pieces that frankly aren't really as needed or aren't as profitable for you as you need them to be. As we figure out how to upgrade our business, this is important work that has to be done. So I went on to ask Courtney, talk about some of the challenges you face as you're growing this business now. And I think what she has to share is going to resonate with the broad audience. Let's listen.
One of the biggest challenges has been finding the right team. And then once we find the fit for our team, like being able to keep them with us and keep them engaged. So, like for us, we've ended up having to pivot a little bit in looking at the machinery and finding ways to automate things a little bit more. So, like we have this really awesome folder, but honestly, Brad's the only one that can figure out how to run it. It does a great job, but it takes so much finesse. It takes so much work to get it to do what we needed to do that it was actually easier for us to bring in a new piece of machinery that, you hit more buttons, but you get a better outcome and it's easier. And even I can do it. So just finding things like that we can do to make it easier for people and to make it more engaging too, just because, like you push the buttons and it comes out this way. Like, I mean, printing is not easy. It's not just pushing buttons and it comes out, but just finding ways to make it a little bit easier for our staff to maybe multitask or to make it easier to figure out how to use it and not so like daunting and scary.
Ah, yes, the problem going back time immemorial for business, finding the right people to help us build our thing or do the service or get it all done. I mean, seriously, folks, how do we crack this nut? What do we do when people on our team are not doing the thing they're supposed to do, what they should be doing? And I want to emphasize the should, because here's the answer. We have to stop shoulding on ourselves, on our team, on our customers, on anyone. Should doesn't get us anywhere. But it's so easy to say, back in the day, people used to show up for work. They did their job. They worked hard. They wanted to actually come in and do it. Nowadays, people don't want to even do anything. They don't want to leave their homes. They just want to stay in their basement all day. Okay. Your memory may very well be right. And that's how things have always been. And that's actually how they are now. But folks, the reality is we can't change humanity. We can't change individual people. What we can do is we can actually work with the resources that we have. It gets us stuck. It gets us nowhere to stay stuck in all those shoulds about what people should do. Instead, here's the advice we like to give. We counsel our clients to do what Courtney did. Find another way. Do you need to automate? Do you need to delegate? Do you need to outsource? Do you need to innovate? All those opportunities are there. Take what you actually have, hone your processes, and figure out how to get it done more efficiently, more effectively. Make sure the service still gets rendered, and do it with the people we actually have, not the people that you quote should have. Okay. I went on to ask Courtney about financing and funding, always an essential piece, particularly as the business is growing. Let's hear what she says.
So we have been profitable for the most part since I took over the business, which is like, I mean, crazy lucky because like I said, we're flying by the seat of our pants, but also like we're making really good decisions by not spending money when we don't need to and such. I did end up reaching out to the same CDFI that gave us our business loan for another loan to help us pay for a piece of equipment that we wanted to bring in because we knew that that would help us. And we ended up having to actually like buy out of some bad leases that we took over when we took over the business. It was part of, yes, we'll sell you the business, but you also have to take over
Yeah.
a lease. And if we would have kept that lease, we wouldn't be here today. So it was easier for us to buy out that lease than to continue paying for like old equipment that wasn't serving us. We've done a lot of cutting and budgeting, which I would tell everyone that they should do. Like, just because you have money doesn't mean you should spend it.
Just because you have money doesn't mean you should spend it. Couple of excellent points here. Financial discipline is one of the keys to a growth business. The balance is knowing when to hold off spending and when to invest. We don't want to spend, we want to invest to grow. If we hold off for too long, we may miss an opportunity that's right there in front of us that we need to seize in the moment. But if we spend too soon, oftentimes we can get out over our skis. I love what Courtney did here. They evaluated these leases were not going to be something they needed and equipment that they don't need. And they went back and proactively renegotiated. I have seen too many people for too long decide that the die is cast. It's out there. There's nothing I can do. Not true. Go back, negotiate, talk to people, figure out how to do some workouts. Be active in order to get that done. Here's what I recommend all of our clients do. When you evaluate, you got to take a look at your plans. Where do you really want your business to be? What do you think it's going to cost to get there? When do you think you're going to start seeing a return? You got to put all that math together and understand, and then start doing some simple subtraction. How much are you going to be the whole by how long? Figure out that cash flow cycle over time, and then start running some scenario analysis. What happens if sales are just a little bit lighter than forecast and expenses are a little bit higher? By the way, that just tends to be how it is. We tend to be overly optimistic when we forecast, oh, sales are going to do this and I'm going to keep it tight control. Tweak that down, tweak the sales down, tweak the expenses up, see what happens. Folks, this is the work we absolutely love to do at MKE Business Coach. Reach out to us. The power of evaluating an investment, doing a sensitivity analysis before you take out that loan. Go get the line of credit, rack up money on the credit card, whatever it is you're doing to access money. You get the ability to see some scenarios and understand what works, what won't work. There are some investments that almost no matter how you tweak it, isn't going to work and make any sense. There are some others that we need to do ASAP because they're amazing. Obviously, nothing's perfect, of course, but when we count the cost that way, not only can we move forward with confidence, but we have a better understanding of how to make changes rapidly when the results are fundamentally different than what we had forecast. All right, I went out to ask Courtney, how has her leadership style changed during the course of owning her business? Let's listen to what she has to say.
It's been interesting. I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot as a leader since I took over the business. I had some leadership experience, but for the most part, I was always in roles that I wasn't necessarily leading other people. So it was a little bit bumpy at the beginning, just because I'm a people person and I don't like to have to tell people no. And I don't like to have to tell people when they're doing something wrong. I'd rather be the person that's like, yeah, you did a great job and keep it there. So for me, I've read a lot of books. I've taken a lot of sessions that I could to learn about different people styles. And it's been a lot of learning and evolving to where I feel like I can actually be a leader now instead of just like telling people what to do. Cause there's a total difference there. Like there's telling people how to do a job and then there's empowering people to be better versions of themselves, which is the ultimate form of leadership. But like it definitely takes work. It's not something that like everybody is born to do. There are those people that are the leaders that anybody will follow them. and listen to what they say. And I don't feel like I've been that person. It's taken a while to find my voice and, find that confidence to say, like, yeah, like I am here as a leader, I am here to help people be better for themselves too, and not just to work for us.
Learning to lead can be a challenge, a big challenge, especially for those of us who've never had to lead a big team before moving into business ownership. I want to emphasize the power of support. We're on the leadership learning curve as business owners. It's huge. No one wants to be the bad guy. Naturally, we want everyone to like us. It's really a normal human instinct. But as business owners, we do have to set the standard. We have to make sure that we are helping people get better at what they do by providing them the feedback, the support, the management, and the direction that they're going to need in order not only to succeed in their job, but to be able to succeed in the broader business. And sometimes we're in the midst of learning this. It can seem super lonely. As business owners, it'd be wise to reach out and connect with others who are in similar situations. Get a coach, get some feedback, get some understanding. What is it that you can do to do differently? What has worked well for others? What has worked less well? And even presenting scenarios to get feedback. What counsel do they have for us? I went on to ask Courtney, how does she stay sharp in her industry? A lot of things are changing in the print industry. So it's going to be essential for her. Let's listen to her answer.
Well, luckily, we have salespeople that like to show us all the new things. When it comes to machinery and new toys, my husband, Brad, he's got probably 30 plus years in printing. And he is always like, oh, but we could do this way. And we could do this way. And he's like big on like the tangible the part where I'm looking at the how can we market to this person and you know what do they want? Well, we're looking at bringing in new machinery that will offer more than just four colors. Because when you're doing digital printing, there's four colors and you get what you get. When you add that fifth color in, which we will be doing this summer, you can get bright oranges, you can get bright pinks, you can get like these amazing greens and things that you can't get with your regular CMYK colors. So just finding things like that that can differentiate us just that little bit by offering like new colors. I mean, when you're selling printing, colors are huge, huge.
I love this. For some of us, staying out our industry means going to trade shows, attending webinars, seminars, conferences, reading materials. For Courtney, some of the latest and greatest where people come into her, some of the salespeople. Look, and obviously you don't believe everything everyone tells you. However, it is in people's vested interest to continue to keep you up to speed so that you're ready to be able to buy. Okay. And guess what? Sales is at its best helping people solve problems. If you actually surround yourself and invite in salespeople who understand that focus, that they're not selling a widget, they're solving a problem, you can actually have some of the best allies that you need to have. And so you're positioned well to be able to solve a true problem that you have once you've done that analysis and understand, does what they're solving match my need that I have here today? Courtney understands this, and rather than being put off with it, she recognizes it that as a curated just for her experience and opportunity to be able to stay sharp. My last question for Courtney was, where did she get her support from? As growth consultants, we've seen business owners often burn out for lack of support. It's an ugly situation. And honestly, frequently it's a completely avoidable one. Let's listen to what Courtney says.
I've found a lot of friends in other business owners. People say that being a business owner can be a little bit lonely, and it's true. But I have a ton of business owner friends, and we're all in different markets, but a lot of the stuff is the same. A lot of the basics are the same. Like we all have our pain points. We all have teams that we're managing. We all have like marketing ideas and crazy like things like pipes bursting and machinery breaking down. And I've found that having a strong peer network has really been huge for me.
Do not do this alone. As growth consultants, we're here to support you. There are industry groups and peer groups that are here to support you. If you're looking for a support network, reach out to us and let's see if we can point you in a few key directions. We've been to lots of them, and we can help you find one that would be a good fit for you. Well, like you, I cannot do this on my own. There are so many people who contribute to be able to bring this amazing product to you. If you like what you hear, I do want to encourage you, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. I'm Brent Halfwasson, owner of MKE Business Coach, and I want to remind you that being a growth company means upgrading your current business. See you next time.